Rambam Hilchos Talmud Torah Perek Hey. Kishem Shalom Mitzuvi B'chved Aviv Yirasi Kachel Chai B'chved Rabbi Yirasi Yesem Aviv. Just as a person is commanded to honor his father and hold him in awe, so too he is obligated to honor his teacher and hold him in awe. She'aviv V'viyoi L'chai L'mazeh V'Rabbi Shlim D'chochma V'viyoi L'chai L'ma'bo. Father brings his son to this world, and the Rab, the teacher, brings him into the life of the world to come. If a person saw a lost object belonging to his father or belonging to his teacher, the lost object belonging to his teacher takes precedence. If his father and his teacher are both carrying loads, he should relieve his teacher's load and then his father's. If his father is sitting in captivity and his teacher, so he's paid the first his Rav, then his teacher. If his father was a Talmud Chacham, he's paid them first. But he always puts his father, if he's a Talmud Chacham, first for the lost object, even if he's not as wise as the Rav. Listen, whoever, they say like, there's no greater honor as due to a teacher, and no greater awe that's due to a teacher. Our fear of our teacher should be equivalent to the fear of heaven. Whoever engages in controversy with his teacher, this is if he engaged in controversy with the divine. It says about the Jews contested with Hashem. Whoever complains against his teacher, it's like complaining against Hashem. Your complaints are against us, but against Hashem. Whoever thinks despairingly of his teacher is considered as he thought despairingly of the body. Your complaints are against us, but not against us, but against Hashem. Whoever like contemplates after questions Hashem, his Rav is like questioning Hashem. It says, the people spoke against Moshe. What does it mean by disputing the authority of one's teacher? A person who establishes a house of study where he sits, explains, and teaches without his teacher's permission in his teacher's lifetime, even if his teacher is in another country. Also, Adam, it's forbidden to ever render a lawful judgment in one's teacher's presence. Whoever renders a lawful judgment in his teacher's presence is worthy of death. If a person's asked a student regarding a halachic question, and there were 12 mil between him and his teacher, he's permitted to answer. To prevent a transgression is permitted to give a halachic judgment, even in the presence of one's teacher. How so? Going Adam once saw a person perform a forbidden act because he was unaware of the prohibition or because of his, he should try to prevent them by telling him this is forbidden. This applies even if his teacher presents the teacher's presence, and even though one's teacher had not given him permission. Wherever the desecration of God's name is involved, no deference is paid to a teacher's honor. When does this apply? But to regard to a matter that came up incidentally. The whole shil. When this is applied with regards to a matter that came up incidentally, however, establishing oneself as a halachic authority to sit and reply to all asks concerning halachic matters is forbidden, even if the student is at one end of the world and the teacher is at one end. unless his teacher gives him rishus. Not everyone whose teacher dies is permitted to sit and give up sak. Only whose student is worthy of rendering judgment. And his student is not worthy of rendering halachic judgment, and thus so is foolish, wicked, and arrogant. Pasuk says, she has cast down many corpses. A sage who is worthy of rendering halachic judgment and refrains from doing so holds back the spread of terror and places stumbling blocks before the blind. It says, the strong ones are those who slew. This applies to him. These are the undeveloped students who have not gathered much Torah, now seek to gain prestige in the eyes of the common people, the inhabitants of the city, by jumping to sit at the head of all the halachic laws, judgment in Israel. They spread division, destroy the rule, extinguish the light of Torah, and they wreak havoc in the vineyards of Hashem of hosts. His wisdom flame loose to them. It says, take for us foxes, little foxes that spoil the vineyards. Also the Talmud, it's forbidden for a student to refer by name, even outside his presence. Should not mention his name in his presence, even when he is referring to others with the same name as his teacher. You should refer to him in different names even after his death. A student should not greet his teacher or respond to the latter greetings, as it is customary when two friends exchange greetings. Should bow before him and say with honor and reverence, peace be upon you, my master. If his teacher greeted him, he should respond, peace upon you, my teacher, my master. He should not remove his tefillin in the presence of his teacher. Nor should he recline in his presence. He should not daven in front of his teacher, not afterwards on the side. He cannot go on the side. He should stand behind him without standing directly behind him in the daven. You should not enter in a bathhouse together with the teacher. Not to sit in his teacher's place. He should not side against his teacher's opinion in the presence or the statements. He shouldn't sit until he tells him to sit. He should not stand in front of him unless he tells him to stand. Unless he takes rishus to sit. When one departs from his teacher, one should not turn his back, rather one should walk backwards while facing him. Person is obligated to stand before his teacher from the time he sees him, as far away as he can see, until he passes beyond his field and is hidden. A person is obligated to visit his teacher during the festival. Deference should not be shown as a student while in the presence of his teacher, unless it is customary for his teacher also to show him deference. All the services which a servant performs for his master should be performed by the student for his teacher. All the services which a servant performs for his master should be performed by. Now, if a student was in a place where he was not recognized and was not wearing tefillin, Should he suspect that people will say that he's a servant, he need not put on his teacher's shoe or move it. Whoever prevents a student from serving him withholds kindness from him and takes away his fear of heaven. Any student who deals lightly with a matter related to the honor of his teacher causes the divine presence to depart from Israel. Allah tests. The Talmud sees that his teacher transgresses the words of the Torah. He should tell you, tell us such and such. Whenever he mentions a teaching in his presence, you should tell him, you have taught us the following, Master. He should not mention a concept which he did not hear from his teacher unless he mentions the name of the person he authored it. When his teacher dies, you should not rend. He should rend all his garments until he reveals his heart. He should never mend them. This is his outstanding teacher, which should learn the majority of the Chachma. If it's just a regular teacher, then he's not chayav to do all these things. He should do, nevertheless, he should stand before him, rend his garments at his death, as he does for all his descendants for whom he is obligated to mourn. Even if he learned only one thing from him, whether it shall be a small or a great matter, he should stand before him and render the garments at his death. Every student with a proper character will not speak in front of anyone, was wiser than he, even though he has not learned anything from him. Outstanding Talmud Chacham, and if he wishes to forgo his honor, he can. Even though he forgoes his honors, the student is obligated to respect him at the time he forgoes respect. Just as the students are obligated to honor the teacher, a teacher is obligated to honor his students in the cars. The honor of your students should be as dear to you as your own. The teacher should take care of his students and love them because they are like sons who bring them pleasure in their world and in the world to come. Students increase their teacher's wisdom and broaden his horizon. Chum say, I learned much wisdom from my teacher and even more from my colleagues. However, for my students, I learned most of all. Just as a small branch is used to light a large bow, so a small student sharpens his teacher's thinking process until, through his questions, he brings forth brilliant wisdom. Hilchos Talmud Torah Perek Vav, Chapter 6. Aleph Kol Talmud Chacham Mitzvah Lahadrei Af B'Shin Rabbi Shnamar Pnei Siva Tokum V'Dartim Pnei Zaken. It's mitzvah to respect every Talmud Chacham, even if he's not one's teacher, as it says, stand up before a white-haired man and respect an elders. What does it mean? Zaken Zeshakana Chachma, somebody who acquired Chachma. When is one required to stand up? He approaches with the 4 amas until he passes him. One should not stand before a sage in a bathhouse or toilet. For it states to stand up in respect. Upon standing up, that conveys respect. Ein bali umani is chayol namen play Talmud Chacham b'shash eskim laftish tamer takum v'darta. Mahidish ein b'chsarkis af kimish ein b'chsarkis. Craftsmen are not obligated to stand before Talmud Chachamim while they are involved in their work. For instead to stand up and respect. Just as showing respect does not involve a financial loss, standing need not involve a financial loss. What is the mark which teaches that a person should not divert his eyes from the sage so that he will not see him, lest he be required to stand before him? It's written, and you shall fear your Hashem. Regard to all matters dependent on one's conscience, there says, and you shall fear your Hashem. The proper for a sage to trouble the people and position himself before them so that they will not have to stand before him. Rather, he should take shortcuts and have the kavanah that they should not see him. Chum would take circular routes through the outskirts where people would recognize them and will not be found and will not to trouble them. Riding is considered to be walking, just as one who stands before a chacham who is walking, so should one stand before one is riding. When three people are journeying together, the master should walk in the center, students who wear a sash on the right, and the one lesser on his left. When he sees a sage, he need not stand in deference to him until he reaches within 4 amos. Once he passes, he may sit. Should one sit out based in, one should stand in deference to him from the time he sees him as far as he can see. He may not sit until he passes 4 amos. Should one see Anasi, one should not stand in deference to him. One should stand in deference to him from the time he sees him as far as he can see. He may not sit until he has reached his place or passed beyond his vision and is hidden. Now, Anasi from Machal Kvede, it's Kvede Machal. Anasi waves the arm to him, he may forgo it. And the Nasi enters, all the people should stand, they should not sit until he tells them to. When the Av Beis enters, 2 rows are opened for him, and the people stand on either side until he enters and sits in his place, and other people will remain seated in their places. When a sage enters, when he approaches within 4 hours of anyone, the latter should stand for him. One stands and one sits until he enters and sits in the place. The sons and the students of the sages may jump over the heads of the people to reach their place when their presence is required by the large people. It's not praiseworthy for a sage to enter the house to study last. If one leaves to tend to his needs, we return to his place. Children of the sages who have enough knowledge to listen and turn their faces towards the Father. They lack the knowledge to listen, they turn their faces to the people. Talmud a student who is constantly sitting before his teacher is permitted to rise in his honor only twice daily, in the morning and in the evening. The honor paid to him does not exceed the honor paid to Hashem. We should stand before an old man of exceedingly advanced age, even if he is not a sage. Even a sage who is young, obligated to stand before an old man of exceedingly advanced age. Nevertheless, he need not rise to his full height and not show the full respect. Even a guy should be addressed with the words of respect, and hand should be extended to him. To stand up before a white-haired man, even white-haired man, every white-haired man is included in it. Talmud Chacham should not personally take any part in any communal work, building, digging, or the like, to improve the city, lest they become disgraced in the eyes of the common people. and gave man the being of Chima, but Tikkun Hasha'adim, was Schar Shem, to men related to the true Asamelch. Money should not be collected from them to pay for buildings, the city wall, fixing its gates, so watchmen wages, and the like. The same applies regarding a present to be offered to the king. In Mechayim is the Namas bin Mas Shukotzav al Be'ir, and Mas Shukotzav al Kol Ish Ish Emmer Gam in Yitin Magayim Ata Kapsam Icholu Mat Mas Melfasan. Now, money should not be collected from them to pay for the building, the city, the wall, the fixing of the gates, the watchmen wages, and the like. Same applies regarding the present to be offered to the king. We always saw the Talmud Chacham's sphere first. When it comes also legal matters, always give the Talmud Chacham priority. It's a great sin to disgrace Torah sages or to hate them. Shalim was not destroyed until its inhabitants disgrace its sages. It says, they would mock the messengers of Hashem, despise his words, and scoff at his prophets. They would scorn those who taught his words. He despised my statutes, and he despised my years and my statutes. Whoever disgraces sages has no portion of the world to come. As it says, those who scorn the words of Hashem. Even though a person who disgraces a Talmud Chacham will not receive a portion of the world to come, if witnesses come and testify that he disgraced them, even verbally is obligated to be placed under Nidei. Give him a knas of a literal, which is given to the Chacham. Even when one disgraces a Talmud Chacham after his death, is placed upon it Nidei, but the Beis Din, they should release the man when he repents. If the Chacham is alive, they should not release the ban until he appeases the Chacham, for whose honor he was ostracized. If the protect his honor, a sage may issue a ban of ostracism against the common person who acted outrageous against him. He need not witness, nor must the offender have been warned. The ban is not lifted until he appeases the sage. The sage is desired, 3 people may come and lift the ban. The sage is desired to forgive him and not place him under ban. He is permitted to do so. If a teacher placed a person under a ban of nidei because of his honor, all the students are obligated to treat him in the required fashion. If a student issued a ban of nidei because of his honor, his teacher is not obligated to abide by his terms. But all the other people are obligated. When a person is placed under a ban of ostracism based on Nasi, all Jews are obligated to follow. When a person is placed under a ban of nidei because of the city, other cities must also abide to this ban. However, if he is placed under a ban by other cities, his own cities do not need to abide by the ban. This is imposed when a person disrespectfully acted Talmud Chacham. A person who was placed under a ban for other reasons for which such a ban may be declared, even if the ban was declared by a person of the lowest stature in Israel, then us and all the Eden are obligated to abide by the terms of the ban until he repents the matter for which the ban was imposed and the ban is lifted. A ban is imposed upon a person 24 reasons. Number 1, a person who disgraces Talmud Chacham even after he passes. Somebody who disgraces or still based in. A person who calls his friend an Evan. A person was ordered to appear before Beis Din and he didn't show up. A person who treats even one point of rabbinic law with disrespect, needless to say, this applies regarding to matters of Torah law. Person who refuses to comply with the decision of the Beis Din. Somebody has a damaging dog or a ladder, so you have to get rid of it. If he doesn't, he goes into neither. Person who sells land to a guy is placed under nidei until he accepts responsibility for any damage, which again may cause the Giddush neighbor. Hamed al Yisov ar Kodesh L'Edik Kacham Be'esim Milam Be'edus Soy V'Mamish Le'Kedin Yisov Ma'ad Le'Sat Shalom. A person testifies against a Yid in a secular court that costs money with Torah law would not require to be taken from him, is placed under the ban. Tabach Kein in Mafresh Samatanis V'Nesin L'Kenach Ma'ad Le'Sat Shitin. A butcher was a kohen and does not separate the priestly gifts and gives them another priest is put under ban. Somebody does malacha after Chatzei, some Erev Pesach. Somebody who was Master Shem Shemaim Batala, or maybe a Saram Lid the Chilus Shem, brings it out to Chalashem, maybe Saram Lid the Chilus Kat from Bachutz, he brings it out to Eden Kat from Bachutz. Chashav Shalom Kibeh Chalash from Bachutz Urs, if he's making the Kiddush HaChiddush after outside of Eretz Yisrael, Machshel, as Se'iver, he puts a stumbling block in front of a blind person. A Makar Ram Lasses Mitzvah, he holds the Ram from doing Mitzvah. Tabash Yatsa Tarif Mutach Sadeh, a butcher who Treifa leaves his hand. Tabash Leib Balaf Sakini Lefnei Chacham. Or a butcher who didn't check his knife before, and a Maksha asks for the das, but he makes himself, gives him a Kishi, the das, Ishi Gershis, Ishtavasa, Ben Shutvas, and Masamata, and Vil Lizak, Sakshi Valabis, and Madar Esam. Or a person who's divorced his wife and then entered into partnership or business dealing with her, which requires them to come into contact. When they come to court, they are placed under ban. Chacham Sheshwara, a sage whose reputation is not a good one. Person who places a person under ban when the latter does not deserve such punishment. Hilchos Talmud Torah, we're going to learn now the last Perek in Perek Zayin, chapter 7. Chacham Zagim b'Chacham v'Chinasi Av Beis Din Shesarach Imnaden Eisah v'Faraseh L'Elam. Even though the sage who is distinguished for his wisdom, the Nasi, and the Av Beis Din act shamefully, they should never be publicly placed under ban. Unless they acted like Yeravam ben Nevat and his colleagues. They do it privately, give them Malchus B'tzina. It says, you shall stumble during the day, and the prophet shall stumble with you at night. Even though he stumbles, cover him like night. It says, preserve your honor, stay at home. Whenever Talmud Chacham is obligated to be ostracized, it's forbidden for a court to act rashly and pronounce a ban hastily. Talmud Chacham when Talmud Chacham is obligated to be ostracized, it's forbidden for the court to act rashly and pronounce a ban, that they should shun the matter and try to avoid it. Chassidim amongst the sages will be proud of the fact that they never participated in the nida of a Torah scholar. Nevertheless, would they participate in sentencing him to be lashed? They would. They would even participate in sentencing him to receive Makas Mardis. How is the ban issued? Based on says, so-and-so shall be ostracized. The ban is issued in the presence. The Beis Din pronounces the person, this person so-and-so shall be ostracized. A ban of excommunication, they tell them so is excommunicated. His cursed implies a curse and oath about ostracism. Okay, so how is the ban of ostracism or excommunication lifted? They say you are released, you are forgiven. The man is lifted outside his presence, they say so and so is released, so and so is forgiven. What are the practices that must be observed by this person who is ostracized and those who come into contact with him? It's forbidden to cut his hair or launder his clothing like a Moor throughout his entire period of ostracism. The aim is on love. You don't make a zimun with him. You can't add into that meaning. You can't sit in his forearms. He may, however, teach others, and others may teach him. If he dies, they put a stone on his coffin, saying he's separated from the tzibur. Needless to say, eulogies are not recited for him, nor is we don't malava his mita. Person who is excommunicated has even more severe restrictions. He may not teach others and may not teach them. Nevertheless, he may study himself so that he does not forget what he has learned. An isker ben iskar may not be hired, nor is he allowed to be hire others. We should not engage in trade with him. We should not have any business dealings with him except the bare minimum necessary for his livelihood. A person was ostracized for 30 days and did not seek to be released from the ban. He is placed under a second ban. If he is ostracized for a second 30 days without seeking release, he is excommunicated. How many people are necessary to release a person from a ban of ostracism or chedim? There's 3. Even be single judge with unique expertise may release a ban of chedim from a Talmud. Still may release a person of ban of ostracism or excommunication even in the place of his teacher. With 3 individuals issue a ban of ostracism and then depart. If the person who was ostracized improves his behavior with regards to the matter for which he was ostracized, 3 others may come and release from him. Person who does not know who placed him under a ban of nidui should approach the nasi who may release him from that ban. If a ban was issued conditionally, even if it was opposed that conditional on himself, it needs to have nullified hafara. As a made for a love. As a made for lasting. Talmud Chacham issued a ban of ostracism against himself. Even if he made that ban conditional on the consent of another person, and even if he issued because of the matter which requires either he may nullify the ban himself. Whenever a person dreams that he was placed under a ban, even if he knows who issued the ban, 10 people who are proficient in that area are required to release the ban. If you can't find, you have to go journey up to the parcel. If you cannot find 10 people, the ban can be released even by 10 people studying Mishnah. At least if you can't find that, find 10 people who know Torah. You can't find that, find 10 people, even if they don't know how to read. If you cannot find 10 people in this place, the ban can be released by 3 ordinary people. Last halacha of the Perek, and for these halachas. The Rambam says, whenever a ban of nida is imposed in a person's presence, it should be lifted in his presence. If it's not in his presence, so then that's be need matter without him. There's no fixed amount of time between the issue of a ban and its release. Instead, one may issue a ban and lifts it immediately. The person placed under a ban improves his behavior. The basis sees fit to put him for a while. They do, according to his wickedness. The basin sees for the fifth. Similarly, if he sees fit, the basin is entitled to excommunicate a person. The outside to excommunicate anyone who eats drinks or stabs within the 4 p.m. minutes of a person has been any day. Even though Talmud Chacham could do its best to ignore it. Olden days, they used to hear their embarrassment and not say anything. They would forgive. And when a person spurned or embarrassed a sage in private, if one spurns or embarrasses the Talmud Chacham, public, it's forbidden for the Chacham to forego his honor. Indeed, if he does so, he is punished because the disrespect of the Torah is involved. Instead, he should seek vengeance and carry enmity over the matter like a snake until the offender requires to be pardoned. Then he should forgive. Now, for full Hilchos Talmud Torah.